Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today is Sunday, and in today's video, we will be checking out 3 properties. One is a completed remodel of ours that will be listed tomorrow. The second one is an in-progress remodel on a house we bought about 2 weeks ago. And the third is a in-progress remodel for a property we are doing for an investor for our turnkey investment service side of the business. For each of these houses, you will learn how we found the deal, how the deal was funded, the scope of work and remodel mentality and the exit strategy for it, and whatever thoughts and tidbits and wisdom bubbles up to the surface for me. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, comment, be mean, be nice, I don't care. Engage, let me know your thoughts, any questions, and let's get to it. I'm leaving my mom's house. I was actually showing her how to use Claude today, so that's why I'm not at my apartment starting this video. Welcome to Lake Avenue. We bought this house, it was probably about 4 weeks ago. It originally was under contract as a wholesale deal to an investor that was out of state. However, they were trying to use a loan product that would finance the purchase price and remodel up front. And when they went to send the appraiser, the appraisal came back extremely low. The reason it came back low was basically the appraiser ordered an after repair value appraisal, meaning the investor was supposed to submit a scope of work with the property to basically get an appraisal that says the house is worth this much if you do said scope of work. Well, we didn't submit it with a complete enough scope of work, and he got an as-is appraisal, came back too low for the loan product he was trying to use to finance purchase price and remodel. The appraised value was something around $85,000, and to have it work, it would need to be worth over $115,000. So we closed on it ourselves with cash. So a lot of investors ask me all the time, like, hey, why would I buy property in cash if I can just finance it up front? There's a few reasons, but the first one is just quality of deals you get access to. If you are truly a cash buyer, not only with realtors, but with wholesalers, you will be able to get better deals because you'll be able to close faster, and cash offers with proof of funds behind it give you more leverage when you're negotiating. So you'll be able to negotiate more aggressively, period. The second thing is, as a BRRRR investor specifically, your buying criteria will open up more deal opportunities for you because you're not having to bake in the cost of doing 2 loans, only one, the refinance on the back end. With hard money, using hard money or private money to finance up front, you have to factor in the lender's costs and fees, broker's costs and fees, and then you refinance it into the 30-year DSCR loan, you have to pay for more lender fees. So every deal you do, there's an additional $4,000 to $10,000 potentially, depending on how long you use the hard money for, as in how long the remodel takes before you can get it to the 30-year DSCR loan, meaning every deal you underwrite, you have to bake in an additional potentially $10,000 in expenses that are not going towards the property itself, but the cost to control the asset and remodel the asset. So that narrows the number of deals that work for you, that work for the BRRRR method. Important point, notice I said narrows. There are home run deals where the value add, the equity creation when you purchase and remodel it is so great that you don't care about the cost of the hard money, because for these said home run deals after the refinance, 75% of the market value is more than your purchase price and remodel and lender fees. These deals are rare, but they happen. For example, say you bought a property for $50,000, you put in a $25,000 remodel. Well, if you use hard money, let's throw in $10,000 for the cost of borrowing the hard money, so you're all in $85,000. Well, the property appraises for $100, you're left with 10 grand out of pocket. Now let's say the property appraises for $125, $130, $145. Well, okay, not only is the hard money paid for, the $75K, but the fees, and then you have some extra. So in those scenarios, yes, hard money works, who cares? But for the majority of BRRRR deals that we come across, cash always gets you a better deal and you have wider buying criteria. But back to us in this deal. So what did we pay for this deal? How did we find it? How much did this remodel cost? And then what's it gonna rent for? First thing, this property, we found it via a mailer. We send out roughly 5,000 to 10,000 mailers a month, depending on how big the code violation or water shutoff list was for the month. So this property specifically was direct mail from water shutoff because the previous owner had it vacant, so the water was shut off. So that's how it showed up on our list. And we bought it for $60,000. We were gonna wholesale it for, I believe it was like 70,000. We were gonna make 10 grand, which typically now, because we buy, if we're not making at least 10 grand on a wholesale fee, it's not really worth for us to sell it unless it's to an investor that's gonna use our remodel company. This property, I love this countertop. We bought it for $60,000. This remodel you see cost us 16 grand. It originally, the video on my Instagram, it was just gonna be $11,000, but we ended up going a little bit further on the bathroom. Why am I still carrying this? We ended up doing a little bit extra on the bathroom. Let's check it. So we still have a few touch-ups to do here, but it is getting listed tomorrow. There's just a few touch-ups, tiny stuff, nothing major. This is why it ended up costing $16,000. We ended up doing this bathroom all the way with the vanity tile shower. I want to point out some things. Glass shower door. Why would we put in a glass shower door? Tile, shower, glass shower door, new shower kit. Well, the reason actually came from our lender. Our lender keeps an eye on properties that sell and appraise in our market. And she picks up on trends. Properties with glass shower doors have higher appraisals. The appraisers will take pictures of certain things to emphasize that hurt the value or add to the value, and her panel of appraisers kept pointing out the glass shower doors. So even though they're a little goofy in some setups, the appraiser appreciates it and we seem to be getting the brownie points with it. The next thing is the actual tile itself. Do not do plastic shower kits. Do tile every time. Helps your appraiser and tenants like it. You'll rent it quicker and probably for more. New toilet, cheap, like 75 bucks, 100 bucks in labor, if that. And then here we got vanity from Amazon, under 300 bucks. And then we got a mirror from Amazon, and then we got lights from Amazon. All right, so we bought it for 60,000. We put in 16, so we're all in 76. I'm gonna throw in marketing costs. All right, so marketing costs, let's just throw in 2 grand. Mailing, roughly 2 grand per deal for us, just a safe average. So 76 plus 2 for the mailing, plus another 2 for closing. So let's just say 80,000, we're all in 80,000. What is this place worth? Our ARV puts it at 135. It is 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms. So that is actually the highest in demand in our market is single families, 3 bed, 2 baths. So that's our favorite. So a lot of times we will add bedrooms or bathrooms to make them 3 bed, 2 baths. And a little hack, one of the greatest value adds you can do to a property is by buying 3 ones and making them 3 twos. And another thing is the shower, not that one, this shower is ADA. So the housing voucher we got is higher because it is ADA, accessible shower. I might be butchering this, but our property manager texted me and said, hey, I already got you guys a tenant for Lake. Continuity fix. Earlier in the video, I said it's getting listed tomorrow. Well, Madison texted me on Friday and she told me she was listing it on Monday. She got the voucher, but I guess it was still pending. So she's still gonna list it, but now it is a week later and this property is getting filled with that voucher. Because we have a disabled access shower, because there's no bathtub. So like you just see, you can just walk right in. We believe it'll price for 135 and above. So 75% of 135. So that means we'll be getting a cash out refinance for this much. And we put in this much. So we're gonna be pulling out more than we put in on a deal that originally didn't work because the person buying it was using hard money. So it just goes to show those who buy in cash, you have more margin in your deals because you're acquiring in cash and refinancing on the back end. The exception is if you're getting extremely discounted deals because you're just a beast at marketing and negotiating. But generally, most markets, especially competitive markets, those who buy in cash are gonna get the better deals and make more deals work. Because this deal, according to his underwriting, didn't work. This is gonna be actually one of the best deals in our portfolios because it's gonna rent for $13.50 a month. Our mortgage is gonna be property management, taxes, insurance, maintenance and repair reserves, cash flowing. So after the refinance, we'll have all our cash out plus some still on the property and be cash flowing. One thing I wanna make note of, what did we do and what did we not do to add value to this property? First thing, LVP flooring, nothing nicer, nothing worse. It is super durable and reliable. It kills paint and primer. We always do bare. It requires the least amount of prep work and we just do one color through the entire house. Absolutely no accent walls, anything fancy. Baseboards, trim, just white. So again, we're not trying to be sexy and cute with the remodels. We're trying to be like McDonald's, safe, clean, reliable, and the most scalable remodels tend to be simple with the paint and simple, durable LVP flooring. One thing I get a little bit of hate on from slumlords is how nice we make our kitchens. Why do we always make our kitchens so nice? Well, appraisers value kitchens and bathrooms a lot. And it is one of the most reliable ways for us to get better appraisals is always go all out on the kitchen and all out in the bathroom. New appliances, granite or quartz countertops, new sinks, tile, backsplash, something nice, something unique, something good looking, new cabinets, or we paint and reface cabinets. New handles always from Amazon if we reuse cabinets. But between the bathrooms and kitchens, not only does having a nice looking kitchen and nice looking bathroom help for renting, because those are the two things tenants seem to value the most in our experience, it helps with the appraisal a ton. Our values, we are able to reliably predict what a property is going to appraise for because every remodel we do is relatively the same. This project took less than 4 weeks, $16,000, renting for $13.50. We didn't have to replace the HVAC, just made sure it was maintenanced and ready to go. Same thing with the roof, no moisture in the attic. We basically just checked the essential systems and then gave it a facelift, made sure the kitchen was nice and the bathrooms were nice. And that's really it. We're refinancing it. We started a loan with our DSCR lender already. Appraiser should be out in the next 2 weeks. Loan should close in the next 2 weeks. Pull our cash out, throw it right into the next one. So that is an important thing I want to emphasize. Like I even see from like decently successful investors talking about like how irrelevant $200 of cash flow is. But that's why don't try to be rich and retire off of 5 rentals. You need to enjoy the game because it's going to take hundreds of rentals, maybe thousands, depending how nice of a lifestyle you want. So therefore, you need to make the process of finding properties at a discount, adding value through a remodel, renting and stabilizing and managing to be as boring and seamless as possible because you're gonna have to do it a lot of times. So what I recommend to you, don't put all your emphasis on just finding the, like, oh, I just need like 1, 2, 3 home run deals to retire. Focus on singles, but doing it without your input or very minimal input. So doing it through a team and build a system that can buy rentals without you losing your hair, like me. So my advice is learn it on your first few rentals, and then you need to be learning how to make it into a system, and that is boring and relatively low effort from you. Because again, if it's only $100 to $200 of cash flow per door, already show the mechanics, yes, you are putting your cash in and pulling it out. So it means you need to be able to do it for a long time without burning out and without quitting. So the best way to do that is to turn it into systems. So after you do your first, let's say 5 houses, start thinking, how can I make this a system to reliably buy, remodel, rent, refinance, repeat without you exerting yourself. All right, so this is a completed remodel. Let's go check out a mid remodel. This is Hilltop. We closed on her 2 weeks ago. We bought her for $64,000, and it is a pretty unique situation on how we were able to get this house at the price we did, because houses in this neighborhood sell for north of $150. We paid $64, and as you're about to see, it's in pretty good shape. So I'll talk about how we were able to get such a good deal. All right, so last time we were here, whole thing just Q, and then Q, and then the tenant gets hurt, and then we get sued as the landlord. That has been removed, and we have gotten the remodel started. For this deal, how did we get it for 64 grand? Like the last one, we send out mailers, and this time actually we sent out a unique list to owners with low equity, not high equity. So if you spent any time on the internet learning how to find distressed sellers at a discount, you've probably heard a lot of like high equity vacant, high equity distressed homeowners. Well, we tried something different this time and decided to market to the low equity list. And normally you're probably thinking we were trying to get a subject to deal. This was originally gonna be a subject to deal. However, when we got to the closing table, it turns out the seller needed it paid off in order for him to close on his next property. So price came down since it was no longer subject to, and we closed on it for $64,000, which was the remaining loan amount. This place is basically all cosmetic, except for this place where we're gonna have to add some reinforcement. The reason why we are reinforcing the extension is because however they added it, it's kind of like slipping off the house and the ceiling is coming down. So all we are doing is reinforcing the 2 exterior walls, and we're keeping it. We were gonna tear off the extension, but it only added like $5,000 to the budget to just reinforce it, and then we keep that square footage. And the other thing I want to make note, I said here that we are going to be painting our cabinets. After speaking with our GC, what we've actually gone and done is just added oil to the cabinets and put new handles on. So this is a new thing our GC's been doing, where if we have wooden cabinets, we will just oil them and make sure they have a nice new looking finish, and then we put on new handles, so it's even cheaper than painting. So correcting past Alex here on this one. And I was pretty quick at this house. I was cooked, so adding the details in post. Appliances were good. Don't need to do anything there. Cabinets we are painting. Granite countertops, like I've said. New fixtures, so we got rid of that cool fan, I'm sorry. And we also got rid of this cool fan, I'm sorry. Paint has been completed, and this flooring, we're gonna end up keeping this flooring, so no need to replace the flooring. Flooring in this bathroom as well. And that's really this property. We get fun Amazon fans like this. So this is 2 weeks into owning the property, getting the paint going in the bathroom. All I care about is deadline and budget. So this place should be done within the next 2 weeks. Then we will refinance and rent it just like all the others. We like to have our remodels be done in 4 weeks, because then that's 30 days to close on it, 30 days to remodel, 30 days to refinance. You do the math, that is a house every quarter or 4 houses per year. Every house, our goal is to always get the cash out in and out of the deal in less than 3 months. Here is the original scope of work. This is what it was supposed to be, and then add in about 5,000 extra to fix that extension on the house. So light fixtures, definitely not 750. We've come under on that. We've gotten those in already. Paint completed. Bathrooms, like you saw, we're really just finishing that half bath. The full bath, we're leaving the tile and it's been painted. Updating hardware on the cabinets, that's been completed. Countertops, not done yet. And then just plumbing, checking. So we factor in everything was working for electrical and plumbing, so we just threw in $250 for the checkup. And what's not shown on this is reinforcing that back extension. Now, what are the numbers on this deal? Purchase price, $64,000. I included the HUD earlier in the video, but just to keep it simple, throwing $2,000 in closing costs and then $2,000 for the marketing expense associated with this deal. Bang. Remodel, add about $5,000 to the scope of work I showed earlier. Bang. Meaning our all-in after the remodel will be $84,000 about. ARV we have at 155. So when we do the cash out refi and pull out 75% of the market value before closing costs and fees on the refi, that is $116,000. Then I'm gonna take out about $7,000 for closing costs and fees on the loan, meaning cash to borrower is gonna be roughly $109,000. So according to that, we're gonna be pulling out 25 grand more than we put in. So we're gonna get our purchase price back, plus our remodel cost, plus 25 extra. So we have no cash in the deal. We actually got cash out of the deal extra. And after it is done, it'll be cash flowing us roughly $200 a month. So market rent, $1,350. Take out property management, insurance, taxes. Property management is going to be 10% of rent, so take out about $130. Taxes, throw in about $70 a month. Insurance is going to be around $60 to $70 per month. Maintenance and repair reserves, throw in $100 per month. Then of course subtract out vacancy rate, so like 5% of the time it's going to be vacant. Honestly, for a single family house like this, probably less. But after you take all that out of our monthly rent, this place will be cash flowing $200 to $300 per month. In the previous video, I broke it down to the exact dollar. Now, if it comes back at 135 ARV, okay, we're all in $84,000, $85,000. We're still happy. We're happy if we pull out 90 to 100%. It is a home run deal if we pull out anything more. Here's that breakdown roughly if you want to pause the video. No, the numbers are not to the penny. Quick math. That's the numbers on this deal. Again, about 2 more weeks till this place is done. And this is going to be another fantastic rental in our portfolio. Good side of town. Lots of appreciation over here. Lots of demand over here. So we're super happy to have this gem. Before we go to our last house, I'm going to go to the office and talk a little bit more about our business as a whole, from the marketing side to funding to management long-term and the remodels. I'm going to draw out the whole conveyor belt of our business really quick for you guys, and then we'll get to the last property. See you there. Some nice new builds over here. Whiteboard time. These are all off-market homes. What do I mean by off-market? As in not listed on the MLS, not for sale by owner or listed on the MLS, just all the houses off-market. This is us, or really our VAs, doing outbound marketing. Outbound marketing to these off-market homes includes cold calling, direct mail, SMS. When they reach out, they get leads coming back in. Inbound marketing is homeowners reaching out to us. I'll just draw another person, really our team, our acquisitions team. Homeowners reaching out to us because they want to sell. So outbound, we are reaching out to them and then we get leads back. Inbound, they come to us. They try to find us. This includes SEO, PPC, and PPL, and SMA. So for SEO, these are people searching for terms like how to sell my house fast. Same thing for PPC. And then PPL is just these kind of like legacy websites that are ranked nationally all over the place where motivated sellers get pushed to through Google search. I'd say 10 outbound leads is equal to 2 inbound in our experience, as in the quality of leads from inbound sources are much better than outbound. What do I mean by leads? Anybody who answers yes to the question, hey, would you be interested in a cash offer on your home? That's a lead for us. Now that gives a spectrum of motivation. For outbound, you just got a phone call, someone says, hey, I want to give you a cash offer on your home. A lot of people are going to say yes. However, actually taking the time and searching how to sell my house fast for cash, you're going to be a lot more motivated than the fellow who just said, hey, yeah, sure, I'll take a cash offer on my house. These leads then, outbound leads that are less qualified, go straight to follow-up specialists. So I'll do FUS. They go straight to the follow-up specialist. We have a follow-up specialist and we have an acquisitions manager, which is Antonio right now. Follow-up specialist qualifies the leads and then pushes to, let's just say, Antonio. I'll give him a cool hat. Pushes to Antonio. Follow-up specialist qualifies these first just because we're going to be getting a lot more of them and we don't want Antonio getting spammed. We just want Antonio speaking to the most motivated leads. That is why our inbound goes straight to Antonio with no follow-up specialist because they don't need to be qualified as much. To review, before I go on, off-market homes. These are just any homes. And how do we find these? PropStream, Batch Leads, and Batch Dialer are our main softwares for cold calling, for pulling the lists, skip tracing, and cold calling. Skip tracing is finding the phone number associated to the property. So all these are off market, so there's no contact information just given out. So we have to do what is called skip tracing, where we enter a list of addresses. These addresses, we are going after more motivated lists. So we're going to PropStream, pulling tax delinquent, high equity vacant, absentee owners. And then we are pulling our own niche lists like water shutoffs and code violations, uploading to PropStream, and then uploading to Batch Leads, and then skip tracing, putting in the dialer, and then our VAs can text them, call them. And then for the mailing, we have a company called REI Print we use, which mails to all of those lists. So that's where all the data is coming from. SEO, PPC, we have a website that's ranked, and then PPC, we run it through Google Ads, and then PPL, we use a handful of companies like Leadzolo, Property Leads, Need to Sell My House Fast. All these leads are pushing to Antonio. What is Antonio doing? Antonio is making offers. He's making offers. These offers are low ball offers. He's offering 40, 50, 60% of the market value depending on the condition. He makes between 3 to 10 offers on any given day. He is only speaking to basically the most qualified leads, because then anybody who he makes an offer to and they say, hey, not right now, or they reject the offer, unless they tell Antonio, hey, never call me again, delete my number, Mr. Follow-up Specialist here follows up with them until the day they say, never call me again. So that's the life cycle of the lead. They come in, if it's an inbound lead, goes to the follow-up specialist, then it goes to Antonio. Antonio makes an offer. If they accept it, it goes under contract. I'll draw a little contract. They accept it, they go under contract at his low ball price. So this is a contract. That's if they accept. If they deny it, he goes right back to the follow-up specialist who's in charge of that lead until the day they either sell or tell us to never contact it again. All right, so now it's under contract. What do? Well, the first thing we do is we send our boots on the ground, our GC. So contract goes into a walk. I'm just gonna do GC. Our GC walks it and they get photos and a scope of work with a bid. What is a bid? A bid on the work. That is by default, any house that goes under contract, regardless if we are wholesaling or buying, GC goes out. Here's our GC. Photos, scope of work, and bid. After we have that, we look at the price we have it under contract for and the bid, and we decide, hey, is this a deal we want to buy or wholesale? We then send it to our buyers. Regardless if we are buying or wholesaling, we send it to our buyers. Why do we do this? Even if it's a deal we think we're gonna buy, it's always great to have more people validate our numbers. So whenever we get the purchase price and scope of work, we send it to our buyers and we get their offers back. Most of the time, just because we're good at underwriting, we don't get stuff under contract unless we know it's a good deal. They come back $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 more than our purchase price. So by default, almost any deal we get under contract, we can wholesale and make $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on the wholesale fee. Once we get that, we decide if we are gonna wholesale it, make a fee, or buy it for our own portfolio. And then really the third option, which is kind of new, is feeding it to our turnkey investment buyers, which they're basically the same as our regular buyers, except they actually have us do the bid. Our regular buyers, they do their own remodels. For our kind of like third exit strategy now, where we sell the deal to the turnkey service investor, we just do the remodel for them as well and then manage it for them long term. So really have three exits: wholesale it, buy it for ourselves, or give it to our turnkey program, I'll call it. How are we deciding? Sometimes it's, okay, what's our cash position right now? Like, how are we standing on cash? When was the last time we bought a deal? What deals are we refinancing right now? We have like a quota every quarter for how many houses we want to add to our portfolio. So it's kind of contingent to where we are at. And sometimes it might just be that we don't want to have to do that extensive of a remodel. We just want to flip it and get the quick cash. So really deciding which of those three options. Obviously for the turnkey, just making sure, hey, if we got people who we have a service agreement with, we got to fulfill them, obviously. And then between our portfolio and buyers, typically if we're not making more than 10 grand on a wholesale fee, we're just going to buy it ourselves. If you want to be one of our turnkey investors, click the link below. So if we buy it, I'm just going to draw a line, make it a little more clear what's going on. I hope this is clear. Okay, if we buy it, we are buying it, it goes into our portfolio. So it goes into our portfolio of houses. So after we've closed on the property, here's what happens. So after we purchase it, the properties we are buying, we always do remodels, value add, unless it's just a home run deal that was already in perfect shape. But we buy it, it needs a remodel. We do the remodel. This increases the value of the property. The remodel process is done by our GC and our assistant. And between our assistant and our GC and our property manager, the whole process between acquiring, remodeling, and getting a tenant in there does not fall on me and Antonio to figure out, other than initiating the refinance process once the remodel is done. So the general flow is we have a Tuesday and Thursday touch base where our assistant, who coordinates with our GC to make sure jobs are getting completed, making sure invoices are being paid, managing payables and receivables, and acting as the buffer between our GC and us. She is managing all that going on and making sure stuff is getting done. We just get updates on it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's how we are able to have so many projects going, while I'm able to focus on things like content, and Antonio is able to focus on things like getting more houses under contract and getting more relationships with wholesalers and realtors in our market. So between our assistant and our GC, the whole remodel process, we hear about it on Tuesdays and Thursdays in our touch base meetings. And then when it's done, we initiate the refinance. So I have to initiate the refinance with our DSCR lender, and then our DSCR lender communicates to me via our email, and our assistant handles most of that admin work to get it done. So the whole process between purchasing, remodeling, and refinancing is not on my plate. And then on top of it, the GC and our property manager have a good relationship. So when the GC is done with the job, it's handed right off to our property manager. They throw a tenant in there and get it going. Like I was talking about earlier, turning everything into a system. This is what I'm talking about, where between me and Antonio, his highest leverage use of his time is getting deals under contract, speaking to motivated sellers. So anything that is not that is taking away. So that's how this flow is done with our amazing team of, it's kind of funny, it's actually all women between the title company, our assistant, our GC, our property manager, and our accountant right now is all women. Purchase, remodel, it's done. Now the property is worth more. We do a refinance for 75% of the market value, like I broke down on the previous deal. So that means we get all of our cash out 9 times out of 10 because we underwrite our deals well and we always source off market. Sometimes we pull out more than we put in. That gives us a big cash out refi. That refi goes to reserves and the next deal. And then after the refinance is complete, the cash flow we're getting, 100 to 250 bucks a month, maybe 50 bucks a month on some of the deals we really juiced. That cash flow is going to us, but really we don't pay ourselves that cash flow. We are just filling up our operating account because right now we're in an aggressive growth phase. So our rental account, we are just parking that money in there and we're paying ourselves out of wholesale. But then eventually when we slow down on being as aggressive with growing, more of that cash flow from the rentals will just go to pay ourselves. All right, these are not our actual LLCs, and we actually have more LLCs for specifically the wholesaling and our turnkey services side. For your portfolio, this is the part that matters. We have the LLC that all the houses are owned in. Limit this LLC to 20 to 50 houses, depending on the value of houses in your market. And another option, if you want to be more safe liability-wise, you can do a series LLC underneath it for every single property LLC. We have found accountants hate that, attorneys love it. So use your discretion, speak to an attorney and decide for you. For us, we're going this route, one LLC per about 20 houses, and then we throw in an umbrella policy on top of that LLC for, slip and fall type stuff. Next is our remodel LLC. So the remodel LLC is for everything remodel. Any cash going in and out of our business relating to remodels goes through this LLC. It files on its own, and this one files on its own. Next, these two LLCs are not owned by us. They're owned by a holding company. Then this holding company, we each have a trust that owns 50-50 of the holding company, and then that's us up here. Why do we have it set up like this? To protect us from liability. Anything that happens at a rental property or happens at a remodel LLC, our personal liability, we're safe up here, and our personal assets are safe. The idea behind this structure is how some of the most wealthy, powerful people in the world have their businesses and holding companies set up. What you want is to own nothing but control everything. You want to own nothing but have full control. But I'm not an attorney. This video is not to lecture you about liability and trusts and holding companies and LLC structures, but loosely, this is how we have it. And then that's after the house is remodeled. It's in that LLC. That's our portfolio. I hope you guys got something out of that part. I'm gonna end today's video by going by one of our turnkey investors' properties that we are about midway through the remodel. So I'll talk a little bit about the numbers on that deal and the investor's story behind it. All right, guys, so we sold this property to the investor for $37,000. And like all the other properties, I'll talk about how we found it, the financing structure, the remodel, and the exit. This was actually sold to one of our first members in our school community when we first started posting online, and we had the school community and just decided, hey, let's see if people in the school community would be interested in buying some of the deals that maybe we don't want to buy. And lo and behold, one of the earliest members jumped right in. And the loan product she used is the 100% financing product with our lender, Trishelle. Purchase price and remodel was covered. I'll talk about the remodel cost, so. Hello? Let's look at it. So the investor used the 100% financing loan product, purchased for $37,000. Remodels coming out to be between $34,000 and $37,000. There's a few miscellaneous things we're still confirming, such as damaged subfloor, so it's going to require a little bit more work. All the borrower had to bring to the table was closing costs and fees, and as long as the scope of work is completed, she will be able to cash out refinance. For this loan product, if the appraisal comes back low, to pay off the hard money, we do a rate and term switch, or our lender does a rate and term switch. Like always, we are doing this remodel, $34,000 remodel. Granite countertops, painted cabinets, new cabinet handles, and then Amazon lights again. Look at these, they're cheap, they look good, and we've had no issues with reliability in them. Like, it's one of those things that, in my opinion, is okay to go cheap on. With the luxury of Amazon these days, you can get cheap stuff that also looks good, and as long as you're not doing like essential stuff with the cheap stuff from Amazon, you'll be good. Pretty extensive bathroom. They had to replace some subfloor here because moisture was getting through and rotted it out. But again, this bathroom is going to be tile, new vanity from Amazon, new toilet, and really it looks worse than it is, but we're not that far. Honestly, probably about 1 to 2 more weeks, hopefully. But essential systems have already been taken care of with the HVAC. This deal, and the $34,000 remodel, we're finding that even the rough areas in our market, if you do a thorough remodel, we've been getting those values of north of 125,000. So she's buying this place for 37, putting in 30. I don't think it'd be unreasonable for this place to appraise for 115, just because in our experience, the more extensive scope of work, the appraisals almost start looking like they're honoring it like a new build, at least in our experience. So how did we find her deal? Her deal was actually a PPC lead, but interesting point on her lead, they'd been contacted when I looked in our CRM by our cold caller, they'd received mail, and then lastly, they filled out the form on our website. So a point to make from that on marketing is omnipresence. A lot of times it takes multiple touch points to give a seller or a lead enough confidence and trust in you to pull the trigger and call you up. Important note, on Synergy, you run calling, you run mailing, you run PPC, you run local ads. These individually get one ROI, but combined they get a better ROI because they play off of each other. They make omnipresence. You're getting the seller's repeat exposure. So that's how we were able to get this deal. And for $37,000, that's pretty amazing. Like always, LVP flooring, cheap and reliable, paint, bare, and all this house had hardwood. But like I've talked about in previous videos, we haven't had the best luck with hardwood and tenants. They tear it up and it absorbs smell, so we just replace it with LVP. Makes it super easy when people move out. You just do a quick cleaning and paint and we are good. Tub is here, tub is here. A note on crews. We're starting to run a lot more remodels, so we're having a lot more crews ready to go, almost like our A team, B team, C team, special teams. And we are finding that with the volume of remodels we're doing for ourselves and now our done for you clients, that we like to keep a roster of crews ready to go, because if remodels start dragging, people get cash tied up in deals, we get cash tied up in deals, and it's no bueno. So we need lots of crews ready to go. Places, doesn't matter how much volume we're doing, need to get turned over in 4 to 8 weeks tops on the remodels. So the best way to guarantee that is to have multiple crews ready to go you already have a relationship with. If say one crew starts to fall behind really badly, they lose workers, they don't have guys showing up, they have drama, whatever it is, if you have multiple crews that you have good relationships with, it's not a stress. You just swap in another crew. Exit, refinance, you can pull out 75%. She'll pay off the hard money, pay off the lender. She might be left with a little bit of cash tied up in the deal depending on the appraisal, but she'll be cash flowing after the fact. And the loan product she uses, I recommend for people who are not full-time investors yet and want to just do like 1 or 2 houses a year, because then they don't have to put as much cash into the deal. And I come around, I used to be super anti any financing up front. However, in creating the school community and seeing people who work full-time jobs and want to start picking up rentals, if you do the math on the cash on cash return on the money you do have tied up in the deal for using a loan product, using the traditional 75% rule, as long as there's over 15% cash on cash return, you're winning, because you have all the 4 other ways you are winning with the value add, creating all that equity, the debt pay down, increasing your net worth, the debt inflation aspect. So debt inflation is basically strong dollar debt today, value of the dollar goes down, still paying down the same debt. The tax shield, so the value of the property on paper, get to write down every year, take the paper loss, so it decreases your tax liability at the end of the year. And then lastly is the appreciation aspect. So yeah, 15% cash on cash return because you have cash tied up in the deal, and it's not like the perfect BRRRR deals that Antonio and I do where we're using cash, so we're perfectly pulling out all, if not more, of our cash. For a non-full-time investor that's just looking for a reliable way to retire themselves and their families, using a hard money loan product to acquire real estate is fine. Biggest thing is consistently buying deals. Let's start with 1 deal a year, then 2, then 4. 4 deals a year for 5 years will change the trajectory of you and your family's financial story forever. So this deal, yes, using hard money, using a loan product. This is her first ever rental. And as long as she has good management, which she does, this is a huge, huge, huge milestone for not only herself, but her family's wealth to come. Turnkey deals like this has been the biggest thing that's come out of social media for us. The main return we've gotten on social media is bringing people into our market, and it has allowed us to grow our remodel company and the back end side of our deals, and also our title company. So this is me being transparent with you guys, like, why is this guy posting online? Why is he trying so hard in his videos and all that? It's because when we started, we had no idea what exactly the return was gonna be on social media. I just knew everyone told me, you gotta post some content, you gotta post content. So I started doing that. We started getting some traction. And then I just needed to channel everyone somewhere. So I like, go to the school community. Then I started getting a lot of the same questions. So I was like, let me just dump as much as I can into that school community, like everything I know, everything we do. And then that'll hopefully answer most of their questions. And then we did that. We started going live every week and talking with investors, and we realized like, wait, okay, these people are learning what we do, how we think, and we got these deals that, you know, some of our buyers are spent, they're not buying right now, or they're just, you know, we're limited to the existing buyers in our market. And one day we realized that you guys who follow are qualified real estate investors, so we started moving deals to you guys there, and it kind of transformed into what it is now. But it all just started with the school community, having you guys in there being like, hey, that deal that they're not buying, I'm good for it. Like, let's do it. Like, the numbers look good in the spreadsheet, because we'd underwrite the numbers on a live and you guys would be like, yep, looks good to me. And so far, those deals have worked out great. I love seeing the number of investors who have gotten those appraisals, like I always talk about, where it comes back higher than even we expected. And the investor is making major steps towards financial invincibility. and we've been able to grow our remodel side of our business and the title company as well. And we love our market. We have pride in the industry here, and being able to bring more of you guys, investors, into our market is great. So with that, if you're interested in doing deals with us in our market, please fill out the form below. Otherwise, if you want to learn exactly what we do, I don't gatekeep it. It's in the free school community. I dump everything in there, and there's anything in there that I don't talk about, you want to learn about, jump on a weekly live. I go live every Wednesday. That's my offer, and that's why I'm on social media. I'm gonna keep posting the deals you guys do, the deals we do, and I'm gonna share our experiences, our wins and our losses. So please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, Alex Vslosky, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good day. Bye. Okay. All right.